Hello, hello, SlytheREN girlies. Welcome to the official SlytheREN membership of the Strawberry Lily channel. First of all, I want to thank you so much for signing up. You will not regret it. This is the extra savage, raw, unfiltered, dare I say ruthlessly dark feminine, unapologetic side of my channel. Now, you guys know I'm already a pretty straight shooter when it comes to even just my regular public content, but here on this side of the channel, oh, you're not even ready, okay? You're not ready for the amount of game that I'm about to put you guys on. Or you ladies, I should say. Because everything I do is for the bitches, and a guy's just lucky if he catches a glimpse. So yeah, I will not be holding back over here when it comes to giving my commentary on certain relevant issues in the zeitgeist, along with my general life advice, which is some of the realest advice that you'll ever find on the internet. And I can confidently say that with pride, with my whole chest. Yeah, advice that is rooted in reality, okay? Whether that be on men, relationships, manifestation, pretty privilege, social climbing, whatever topics suit our fancy, really. And listen, I love being Delulu and getting lost in my feminine fantasies and the soft girl mentality just as much as the next girly out there. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely room for us to indulge in those frillier things in our lives, but I want you to keep in mind that there's a time and place for that, okay? And it's usually somewhere safe, like inside our rooms, inside our houses, in online safe spaces such as this membership or other groups that you may be a part of. So keep in mind that it's totally fine to have that feminine soft girl side of you, but we need to be careful about guarding that part of us and not revealing too much of that to outside people who may not deserve it or who may have less than honorable intentions for us, if you get what I mean. Because one thing that I learned being in my mid-30s now and having been around the block a couple of times is that your strategies for winning in life, whether it be trying to, get into a hypergamous relationship or social climbing or achieving a certain career goal, whatever your heart desires, baby girl, let me tell you, your strategies for that better be rooted in reality, okay? It needs to be rooted in the rules and regulations of this imperfect 3D plane that we live in day in and day out. Because look, as much as I believe that there is love and goodness and light in this world, blah blah, all of that good stuff, I would be remiss to not remind you that it is a war zone out there. When you step outside of your cozy little apartment or home, or outside of this coaching container, to use the guru jargon, but no, when you leave the safety and confines of this group or others like it, you're stepping out into a war zone and you need to be ready for battle out there. So that is not the time to be revealing your soft, vulnerable, feminine side, unless you are doing it strategically, obviously, as a means to an end. But again, that goes back to my point about how your strategy needs to be tailor-made to the world that we actually live in and the game that's actually being played out there. It cannot be based on ideals or, respectability politics, how things should be, how a fair society should look, right? Men should know not to do X, Y, and Z in the first place. Yeah, well, the truth of the matter is that they don't, okay? And society doesn't care either about your feelings or about what is considered fair. So what does that mean? That means it's up to you to make sure that you get what you deserve and what you want out of this life, all right? Don't you try to bend backwards, trying to play fair in an unfair world. Now, I'm not saying that you get carte blanche to just be a totally unscrupulous, evil human being. No, of course, there's a balance to be had for sure. But the whole point is that you should get to figure that out for yourselves. Okay, whatever code of ethics you decide to operate by, that should ultimately be something 100% decided upon by you. And it should feel aligned to the point that, you don't feel conflicted whenever you decide to take certain actions in your life, even if they may be something that is against the grain or that's not exactly looked favorably upon by other people. If you are someone who struggles with people pleasing, or caring about what others think of you, like if you find yourself still relying heavily on outside validation and permission in order to give you the green light to go after whatever you want, baby, I got news for you. You're never going to achieve what you want in life with that mentality. You will never get to where you want to be because there will always be lower vibrational people out there who see your success. They see someone else's success and someone else winning as taking away from their own cup, okay? Or their own chances at success by default. Even though that's not true, of course, we know, as conscious manifestors who know that we are the one in charge of our own lives and destinies. But there will always be people like that out there in a more passive victim mindset, and you cannot change them if you try. And your job is not to save those kinds of people, by the way. Your job is either to avoid them or figure out a way to cohabitate with them if necessary, in a way that doesn't impede on your own momentum or your own goals. On occasion, you may even find it helpful or necessary to manipulate and use those people as pawns in your own strategy to get to the top, as long as you're not like hurting them or being totally malicious, right? Unless they deserve it. Sometimes, listen, this is going to sound harsh, but some people want to be used, okay? Or else, think about it. Why would they let people step all over them? Why would they just remain a doormat or a simp if they didn't? And you could have previously been in this position as well. I know I was at certain points in my life. I mean, shit, if they insist on staying on the floor as a doormat, then you might as well benefit by stepping over them as well. Other people are going to do it anyway. But anyway, before I get off too much on a tangent, that's why you need to develop an internal locus of control. You cannot rely on just purely on feedback from the outside. And I'm going to make sure that you don't, at least not to an excessive amount from here on out. I'm going to help you develop your own internal compass. You don't have to agree with every single strategy or opinion that I share, of course, but at least you can have peace of mind knowing that I'm not going to be bullshitting you over here, all right? The vibes are going to be consistent and coming from an empowered place at all times over here. So that's another one of my huge goals with this membership, is to really dive deep and help you girls undo some of that really damaging good girl programming that a lot of you have been indoctrinated with since you were young, that is keeping you small. It's keeping you afraid to stand up for yourself. And God forbid, if it hasn't happened already, sometime in the future, if you keep letting the good girl program run your life without putting your own hands on the steering wheel, if you don't get this in check right now, sooner than later, it's gonna lead you headfirst into some real danger. The lion's den. Okay, that's where good girls end up in this world, unfortunately. They end up in the arms of predators. They end up underappreciated and exploited by their employers, having their work go underappreciated or unnoticed or given the credit to other people. In the worst case scenarios, sometimes good girls end up dead, okay? And I'm so dead serious right now, no pun intended. I may only be one person, but I'm sure as hell not going to let that happen to any girls on my watch. Now, of course, I'm not responsible or to be held liable for any actions that you decide to take and the consequences thereof. But just know that my goal ultimately is to keep us all safe. It is to keep us in one piece, first and foremost, and ultimately living our best lives and continuing to level up at every stage along our journey. And in order to do that, it is imperative that we break down our old, defective, good girl programming that we didn't choose, by the way. It was pretty much thrust upon us, right? Without our consent, or in most cases. If it's not benefiting you in some clear way, then it's likely that you didn't have a say in designing that program. That's an easy way to tell if you're being brainwashed, by the way. Use that as a litmus test. So, yeah, it's necessary to break down this program all the way down to the ground. Start over from scratch. Start over with a clean slate upon we can rebuild a new program. And this time it's going to be one that's actually coming from our own values, aligned with our own self-worth and self-preservation. How's that for savage? This is beyond savage, if you ask me. This is SlytheREN territory. Are you ready? Okay, so I think I should wrap it up here. I don't want this intro to be too long. So let me just sum up by saying that it is my commitment over here to give you real life practical advice that you can actually take out into the real world and apply seconds after hearing it if you want to. So I will be drawing heavily from actual raw real life examples from my own life with receipts, okay, screenshots of text conversations and all of that with, of course, certain parties' names will be blurred out, but yeah, I'm coming with receipts, okay? I'm not like these other girlies out here that just spew a bunch of abstract fluff, or they just give you a bunch of generic advice on scenarios that actually never happen they never happen that black and white in real life. Like, do you ever feel like a lot of the self-help level up advice being churned out these days is mostly just drivel that has been outputted from ChatGPT? I mean, I don't want to speculate or name any names, but I definitely side-eye some new channels that have been popping up here and there because they will literally be reaching to the stars to prove certain points to where it's like, okay, the examples and scenarios that they give are just a little bit too trite and contrived. Like, the points made from one video to another are contradictory and inconsistent to the point where it seems highly unlikely that this was curated by an actual human being that has a targeted message or goal for their audience. But anyway, my point is that that's not what we're going to be about over here, okay? You will hear from my real lived experience, and I may borrow here and there stories from acquaintances or whatnot because, again, I'm just one person. I've experienced my fair share in my 35 years of life so far, but not all the things, so I may need to borrow on the wisdom of others from time to time. Rest assured that those will be, people that I approve of, and their mindset is something that is vetted by me, that aligns with what we're all about over here. But yeah, I will always strive to bring everything back to tangible applications of techniques or mindsets in order to get desired results in the real world. You may have to bear with me a little bit because sometimes I do tend to get really into my deep dive philosophical analytical tangents or whatever, but I will always, again, strive to bring those back down to earth in the end in a practically applicable way, if that makes sense. And I think it goes without saying, but just to put it out there, of course, the paywall is there as obviously a protection from the prying eyes of third parties that just like to spy and lurk and maybe don't have the best intentions at heart for either me or my following or both, whether they are just nosy for no reason or they have sabotage on their mind. I will be revealing probably some sensitive information in here, some not so politically correct points of discussion, or just more private stories that I wouldn't necessarily share with the public. So yeah, it's there to protect me, but it's also there for you guys to feel, again, like you have a safe space to express your opinions and thoughts as well, and maybe even your own experiences if you care to share that. Of course, you don't have to. But that's also another thing I wanted to emphasize too, is that I definitely want this to be an interactive space for all members, whether it's just the 2 or 3 of us that we have right now, or if this grows to hundreds of members someday. I don't want this to be just me talking at you in all of my videos. Please, please, please feel free to chime in at any time into the discussion with your 2 cents. Similarly, if you have any suggestions or requests for future topics, or if you want my advice on a specific issue, book review requests, movie reviews, really anything at all, please feel free to voice them. That's actually probably like one of the first lessons that I need to teach on, is how to learn how to ask for what you want, right? Closed mouths don't get fed, ladies. So yeah, I'm gonna stop yapping for now. I cannot wait to really get started. I already have a bunch of topics in mind. Welcome to the SlytheREN membership, the level after Savage. I cannot wait to see where this goes and takes us all. Stay safe, talk to you later, and bye for now.
You are not going to get anywhere in this world. You're not going to get anywhere financially, spiritually, socially, or otherwise until you get to that point where you don't give a damn about what other people think about you.